Hello there everyone, Ashnflash here, and welcome on into my spoiler review for your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. If you're unfamiliar with how these videos work here on the channel, we go non-spoilers, spoilers, and then Lego talk. What did Lego do and what could they do? You can find time codes and chapters if you want to hop around to the different topics, but first up, we're going to go non-spoilers. Blown away by this. Genuinely, I have no words for that finale. It's incredible. I really just cannot recommend this 10 episode season here. 20-30 minute episodes. I really think this is some of the coolest stuff that they've ever done with Spider-Man recently, and I think that even it could be better than a lot of the stuff as well that they have done for Tom Holland's Spider-Man in particular. Like the world that they built here in New York, because just the stories for obviously him, like the first one I love, Homecoming, and then Far From Home, hence the name, Far Away From Home. Like it's not really, it's not set in New York. It doesn't have that heart to it, in my opinion. And then No Way Home, it's a multiverse sort of thing. And yeah, it's really cool to see all those other Spider-Man back and everything and those villains, but it's missing progressing his story. And there's rumors that the fourth one is going to be another multiverse thing and set up Secret Wars. So it's like they're missing, I think, the heart of Spider-Man, the small street levelness of it. And that's where this, I think, is just captured so well in this offshoot of the MCU, which the MCU connections in here too are really great. Some of the music choices and scores here that they play for the characters as well are so darn cool, and just the events that you're familiar with from the MCU, but with this spin and with these characters that aren't in the MCU, I think it's just so unique and incredible. But I love the opening titles and theme, by the way. I think that the original theme was great, then the new stuff, and then the title cards as well, the classic comic covers being referenced there. Whew, so good. And speaking of comics, I personally really like the animation style. I think that it felt very much like a comic book, and a lot of the shots that they were able to do of like the different panels and seeing stuff side by side, I think was remarkable. I guess, we'll address the elephant in the room when it comes to the voice actor in the comments. It makes no sense. Like there's a lot of, in quotes, woke stuff in this, like in the first episode. Like I don't know what that comment was. If it's such a problem, then yeah, recast him. Although I think he did do a good job, and the people who are saying that he did a bad job, it's interesting because I remember it's the same person that did the What If episode. Everyone praised him. Everyone loved his performance. Everyone was blown away by how much he sounded like Tom Holland. And now he made the comments and everyone's like, he's the worst voice actor I've ever heard. It's just hilarious to me that's being said. He's also going to be voicing Spider-Man in the upcoming zombie show. And by the way, this show is getting a second season already in the works. It's been greenlit for a third season, and I completely understand why, because it's crazy. But let's go ahead. Let's jump into spoilers. So we'll start with the origin of him, because that's what I'm dying to talk most about. The origin for him, I think, is really... I don't mind when they show us the origins. There's this sort of notion of, well, everyone knows how Batman, his parents died. Everyone knows how Superman came to Earth. Everyone knows the Fantastic Four. Like, there's stuff like that I'm like, okay, that's true, but there's also going to be a lot of people out there that this is their first ever interactions with these characters. So we jumped over that for the MCU. We've never actually seen what that was for the MCU. We just know and have had little bits of lore for Peter, whether it's, everything that Aunt May's been going through. Like, comments like that, where we don't know what happened to Uncle Ben. We don't know how he got bit. We just know the spider's dead, Ned, right? That's the line. But seeing it here, I think, is important, especially, I think, even more so for a kid show, an animated show, that, they are told the origin of Spider-Man. But then to go one step further and to be like, all right, here's the origin. This huge fight happens at Peter's high school with the symbiote enemy here, and Doctor Strange is there, and then this spider comes out of the portal and drops down and bites him. But then, I'm just going to jump ahead. When episode 9 ended, I'm like, okay, they cleaned things up and wrapped things up really well. What the heck is episode 10 going to be about? And then they were like, all right, Norman has been plotting, as we saw like, the setup for this is amazing. So Daredevil was saying that, be careful of Norman. He's scheming. He's up to stuff. He's not telling you everything. All of the stuff that we've been seeing the smart kids working on, all brought together to create this portal was just amazing. And then first of all, that visual of Doctor Strange opening the portal in front of the portal was really cool. But then him stepping through and then them being like, you attacked Midtown. He's like, what? I didn't do that. I don't know what you're talking about. Then the second he did that and said he was confused, I was like, oh my gosh. And I realized immediately what was happening. My mind was going, oh my goodness, the spiders are in the building. We just saw them doing that. And it's this loop, which is just so cool. Like, it just did everything better than, like, you know, most recently, like, The Flash. Like, oh, he created himself, blah, blah. Like, I loved that this was just, it's a loop, a time loop there of him creating himself from his own blood and everything. Like, that was just, the writing was so cool. I loved just as well, like, how Strange was like, I shouldn't have been there, and like that whole fight with the symbiote, just my jaw was on the floor. I gasped out loud, oh my goodness, when I realized what was happening. And it was amazing, like truly amazing. I really need to talk about how this is MCU adjacent, just the setup here. And that's how it was originally pitched, was that it was going to follow, of course, the sort of story of Homecoming, but instead of being recruited by Tony Stark, it's going to be Norman Osborn. And we saw the parallels there, him finding the DVD player, and then we got to see a little bit of the airport battle on the news. We heard them talking about the Chitauri invasion and the Hulk fight in Africa, and the Sokovia Accords, of course, and Ross, and even just by extension, like some of the performances were very much sound-alikes. Like, there were some lines for Doctor Strange that it sounded exactly like Benedict Cumberbatch. There was also, obviously, Daredevil in the show, who was voiced by Charlie Cox, who did phenomenal, I think, as a voice actor. He was great here, and it was so fun to see Spider-Man and Daredevil there, that fight and everything. Their interactions were really, really great. And the music as well that I talked about before, just hearing the Daredevil theme play, hearing the Doctor Strange sort of suit play as well, I think was really incredible. For me, the standout was Norman. The incredible performance by Coleman Domingo. Amazing. Like, it's perfect. I love him in live action. Although, again, like, you need to reset that universe or something here, because there is no Oscorp, there is no Norman Osborn, but to see him set in the MCU, sort of adjacent, right, with everything else that was going on, I think was just so cool. Like, this rivalry with Stark and different things, not necessarily directly with him, but just they're competitors and he doesn't like him, and having all of these, you know, technologies that he's working on and developing in this world, it's just so cool. And even the fact that, like, the stuff with the Sokovia Accords, like, he gave the identity of Spider-Man to the government, but it's not actually him, it was this other security guy. Like, just the way that it's tied into the MCU with Secretary Ross, but then Ross is also going and arresting Otto Octavius, who doesn't exist in the MCU. Like, there was just so much here that I just thoroughly was like, this is so cool to see. And I really enjoyed their rivalry as well. That final bit that we had with them in the prison was just so interesting. That confrontation, and oh my goodness, I can't wait to see where that goes. Look forward to him, the arms and everything. It was cool, that little bit of his escape. Well, that was then stopped by Ross and Iron Man, but I really liked just him also supplying the tech for all the other villains. I think that was really fun. I'm excited to see where he goes and who else we're going to wind up seeing. Like, everyone else that we saw in here, like, I loved Chameleon as well. Like, that he looked like, of course, Chameleon, if you didn't know, he was in Far From Home. And then also just, you know, getting hopefully Rhino and different things there. Kraven the Hunter, like, oh my goodness. And Scorpion was obviously the standout here. And it's been who everyone's been asking to be in a Spider-Man movie since they set him up in Homecoming. And it's like, are you going to do it now? Are you going to do it? No? All right. So they did it here, which I think was so cool. I loved the tail, how it could, like, retract and everything there. That was so cool. And just the setup and everything, like, oh my goodness, that fight in the Future Foundation suit was so cool. And then the rematch in the episode 9 was just, wow, just so cool. I did like that it was sort of like the Scorpions or whatever versus the other gang that Lonnie was in, which, speaking of Lonnie, the writing in here, like the parallels between everything that was happening in his life versus Peter's, was just incredible. that was one of, I think, the standout episodes for me. I really was blown away by that. I think his performance there, everything that he was doing, doing that for his brother and everything, I thought was just really great. And the setup there at the end, too, of him turning into Tombstone. I think getting his name was great, but then also the powder, wherever you could see his fingers starting to turn gray. Like, I need to see more of that world. Like, everything. Nico and Harry, I mean, they were just sort of there. And to be honest, that's how I feel about Ned. But I think that they were great. I liked their little dynamic. Excited to see where that goes with her powers and Harry setting up Webb. That was really cool. If you didn't know about Webb, the Worldwide Engineering Brigade, that's something, at least as far as I'm aware, I'm trying to look it up, but I think that they created that for the parks. Like, that's so cool that they are doing that here, tying that in to the sort of in-universe Peter Parker, played by Tom Holland, in the parks and everything, funded by Tony Stark, starts this company and is actually, bringing in a bunch of young people in the Marvel universe to create new technologies, and to see them set that up here, like, that was also really cool. As someone who's been there, read all the bios when you're in line and everything, like, that's so cool. Lego talk, though, oh my goodness. This could be one of the biggest missed opportunities, I think, when it comes to stuff for Lego. Like, they obviously did sets. I'm gonna have to talk about this, but they did sets for What If, and they're no stranger to Spider-Man shows. They did stuff for the Ultimate Spider-Man show back in the day, and this is obviously something that they should be doing. And there's this incredible custom Marvel Series 3 built by Elliot over on Instagram. I'll link it down below. But he created the renders that you saw for the thumbnail with Doctor Strange and the original suit for Peter. Oh, wow. Like, please, Lego. I would love that suit so much. We're still waiting on the MCU homemade suit, which we also need. But oh my goodness, we could be getting the Future Foundation suit as well. Like, that would be so cool to get. But they need to do sets. The only thing that I could really think of for doing a set, and maybe you have your own thoughts on your own, but the Oscorp truck, I think that final battle with Scorpion, I think would be a lot of fun. And you could include Lonnie as well, and maybe have some side built to drop stuff. I think it would be really cool to see how Lego would tackle the tail. Would they just use that classic Scorpion tail piece, like bring something back? Would they be able to have one that can, extend out? I think would be really cool to see. But wherever this show goes, they for sure need to do more. I would love that battle as well. Maybe at the school with Doctor Strange, you could include a school bus, the symbiote monster, a little brick built thing. Would be cool as well. We definitely need stuff for this, and it's not just Lego that's lacking on this. As far as I can see, there's no Funkos, there's no other toys out there. So if this is going for 3 seasons at least at the minimum, then I really hope that in that time period we start to get stuff for this. I don't know about you, but I'd rather be getting stuff off this show than the Spidey and His Amazing Friends. Anyways, everyone, be sure to subscribe, turn the bell notifications so you don't miss out on future MCU installments and reviews like this. If you want to check out my thoughts on other stuff, I've got a playlist linked at the end here. But I hope you guys did enjoy the video. Hope you all have a great day. We'll see you all in the next one.